152.82. He'll be going to Duke next year as a Blue Devil. And Cushion on that win really did a ton of work in that race. You see the depth of this race with our top 5 under 154. Sullivan, Cavender, and Divinity round out the top 5.
Yeah, really good race here. Getting the track warmed up for the 10,000 meter races coming tonight. We've already pretty much got a full stadium out here. I mean, this is pretty cool that we're still hours away from the main events, and we're very full out here.
So you see the interview that Griffin's getting down there on the track, and our crowd starting to come in, as Hayden has mentioned. Anticipation with a ton of stars. And we'll move to the next race on the track will be our high school girls. You see those young ladies warming up right now. Another incredible race. So Ann-Elise Packard from J. Sarah, she was second in the 1600 here a year ago. Number 2 time in the state of California, has run 4:49.12 for the 1600 meters. Braylon Combe from Santiago in Corona, 4:39 in the 1600. She's run 2:09 as well. So Elise Packard has run 2:09. And we also need to keep an eye on Chloe Elbaz from J. Sarah, second in the state in cross country. Number 11 in California, has run 2:12 lifetime. So a very deep race. You see our competitors there on the screen. Lexi Schwartzman from Emmanuel in the Central Coast section has run 2:11.61. We're loaded here.
Yeah, athlete I'm keeping my eye on, Anna-Elise Packard. She's committed to BYU. Took the 800 win at Redondo in sub 2:10. Qualified for the 1600 final at state last spring as well. So she's got speed and strength. Really excited to see what she can do today.
Another power added to BYU. My goodness.
Yeah, just a powerhouse. I mean, what a great, great place to go to school and be a runner. I mean, they've just been so good and seem to just keep getting better. I love that they seem to be one of the few D1 programs that thinks about longevity of these athletes as well. I think a lot of athletes expect to go to college and expect to make an impact immediately, but picking some of these schools that think a little bit more long-term, think about where you're gonna be not at the end of your freshman year, but where you're gonna be by your junior or senior year, or these days, who knows, a 5th or a 6th year. I think that really helps athletes develop and really become their best selves. So BYU's been class of the field in that regard.
So the top time in the state of California is 2:04.17 by McKenna Herbst of Carlsbad. That time is probably not in the cards, but Packard maybe hearing us talk up here as she blasts out. So Packard from J. Sarah's run 2:09.56, and she takes off.
Pace lights are going to be set at 2:06. First lap's a little quicker, similar to the boys. We're expect 62 on lap 1, and then it'll come back to 64. So she's running about sub 60 right now in front of those lights.
So out front is Packard, and a strong field giving chase here. We've got 4 that are somewhat together for these young ladies. So Packard moving well with through 400.
Yeah, Packard really has gone to the front and never looked back. You see her right on the lights right now. She was right on them when she came through in about 62. Remember, they slow down just a little bit here, but she's also running into a pretty stiff headwind. So those lights don't have to deal with the wind, but she does.
So Packard, she's got Cavender giving chase. Running in second. Pasqua there as well.
Yeah, Packard, the BYU commit, has just really gone for it from the front. Let's see if she can get those lights. If she can get 2:06, that is a school record for her, but it'll need a big 100 right here.
Elbaz running in second. So J. Sarah moving incredibly well. And this is Packard, wire to wire from the gun. She took off. We're at 2:03 right now. back on those pace lights. Packard's run 2:09 and runs a huge lifetime best, 2:07.89 for Packard. Combe in second, 2:09.59, also a lifetime best. And Elbaz running in third, 2:10.40 for Elbaz. She was 2:12.75 coming in. So we're looking at the conditions. They don't appear to be fantastic, but the racing is, we're off to a really good start.
I mean, anybody that's complaining about these conditions, this is great. It's really hard to complain about it. We do have a little bit of a wind in that first 100 meters as well in the back straight, but I mean, the real excitement is the Hoka bucket hat. I mean, look at that.
Yeah, that bucket hat, that's a coveted prize. And the results you see on the board with our top three at 2:10 or faster, highlighted by Annalise Packard's 2:07.89.
She's just catching a little bit of shade. She worked hard, sitting there with a hat, getting the shoes off. It's always funny how quickly athletes want to get their shoes off after these races, right? But that is the first thing you finish. You're like, get these things off me. I want to be done for the day.
The feet are burning. And she earned it. I just love the aggressiveness as she just bolted out. Like, that was fantastic.
And so those were our two hot heats of the 800. We'll have some 3200s coming up. That'll be fun. What are you looking at there?
Yeah, our 3200s are going to be fantastic, and we get some pro racing coming up here, and so in the 3200s, we've got a couple of our top preps here out of the state of California, but the final surge 1500s for women and men are coming real soon. And those athletes are getting lined up on the backstretch. We're going to start with the women in the 1500. Hannah Hermanson from Valor Track Club. She's joined by her teammate, Samantha Huerta of Valor Track Club.
Yeah, a woman I'm keeping an eye on in this race, Abby Nichols. She's very, very good. Has won miles before, won on the roads last year at the Festival of Miles, sponsored by Hoka, of course, who took care of all these high school races as well. She's focusing on the 5,000, getting ready for U.S. Outdoors. But I was talking to her coach earlier this week. She's going to be paying attention to getting on both sides of that 5K pace. So the goal with the 1,500 here, obviously run a little bit faster, and then she's going to come back and pace the 10,000 for us later tonight. You see her on the outside there, bib number 9.
Yeah, so this is the women's 1,500. So Sarah Adler designated as a pacer for this section. You see Nichols running in fourth, but just part of that front group at the moment. Yep. Callie Peterson, part of this field, wearing hip number 4, Minnesota Distance Elite. Also from Valor is Casey Monesley. So out a great field here. Stephanie Brokaw, 2-time Olympic trials qualifier, went to Arkansas.
Yeah, let's also talk about Flamina Asikol. She's sitting in second right now. I think she gets written off a lot. Was at UF during the Parker Valaby days, so people didn't really think too much about her, but she's very, very good. She's run 4:05 flat, recently signed a pro contract with On. It was only 2 seconds off her 3K PR in December at BU. So she showed some recent fitness, and sure enough, she's featuring pretty much in front of the field if we're not counting the pacer.
Yeah, so 67 through 400. I mean, she was 5th at NCAAs, and yeah, I definitely think somebody that, should be in this position here, and our pace lights are at 4:07, as Adler keeping that pace but not quite being chased.
Yeah, and that 4:07 mark, right, is the front end of the green marks, the blue marks there for the pacer. But the women don't seem too interested, and I know talking to Abby, like, the time isn't as relevant. It's more about getting comfortable racing again. Ryan said it in the beginning of our broadcast. It's the beginning of outdoors, so a lot of people trying something new, maybe focused on certain things here, and it looks like all these women are comfortable just focusing on racing.
So Asikol chased by Brokaw. Just right around 2 minutes with 2 to go.
Yeah, Stephanie Brokaw, formerly Stephanie Brown, now the assistant coach at Kansas State, ran the Olympic trials 2012 and 2016. She's very used to these races, and I like the experience she's showing, especially with a little bit of wind down that back stretch, tucking behind, letting Asikol do the work. and you've got Abby Nichols right behind her. I mean, really every woman is still very much in this race.
So we're just inside of 215, 216 through 800 meters. And Hayden, a good point. I mean, all 9 lined up right there together.
Another woman we haven't talked about sitting in 4th, Hannah Hermansson. She's got 11 Swedish national titles. That is unbelievable. Competed at 3 world championships, several European games. She's in her 30s now, working full time. Running's just something she does for fun on the side. And man, if this is a hobby, she must be pretty dang good at her job.
Yeah, and races a lot, you know, always seems to be in these types of races. And who's going to make a break here? It's like Askell looking to go off the front.
Yeah, I've got to think Abby Nichols is feeling comfortable there in 3rd. She sensed that move from Askell, and as I say it, she's starting to move around Burkow, getting closer to Askell. I think she's got some serious speed that people don't really think about. I mean, here's a good example for you. When she won that Festival of Miles, she outkicked Chrissy Gear. Chrissy's got one of the best kicks in the country, if not the world, and Abby Nichols outkicked her in the last 100 meters. So let's see what she can do with 300 to go here.
So 6 of them together at 324, and Nichols on the move down the backstretch. Askell looking to cover that move, but starting to get away is Nichols.
Yeah, and Kita of India also getting in the mix there. Silver at Asian Indoors in the 3,000. She's currently moved up to 4th.
So this is Abby Nichols, really bided her time beautifully. Now has a gap on this field, several giving chase, but Abby Nichols trying to bring those wave lights back into her sight. This is Nichols running alone. Askell giving chase, and Kita running in 3rd, but Abby Nichols going to take this 1,500 right at that 4:11, 4:12 mark for Abby Nichols on the win. 4:11.91. Askell 4:13.77, and Kita out of India in 4:13.97. It is early in their season, but a nice opener for Nichols.
Yeah, she's not worried about a mark, right? She's trying to run the 5,000 outdoors. So here it's just all about racing as she gets the Hoka bucket hat and a hug from our very own Ryan Fenton. Yeah, I think that was a very well-run race by Nichols. Sitting back, getting comfortable running in the field as she's certainly going to have to do in the 5,000, and then waiting for her moment to strike. And something that we've learned from Grant Fisher on the world level of really making sure that every 50 meters gets a little bit faster. Nichols did that, taking the win, 4:11. Philomena Askell, a great run there, 4:13. Just didn't quite have the wheels to hang on with Nichols. And Ankita Diana really ran very well there in 3rd, moving up to 4:13.
So Nichols, you know, like you mentioned, that prep for the 5,000 and USA's is way off, but now is the time to build it. And she got her bucket hat and got to check in with Fenton. We're going to go down to Ryan on the track. Side here. And we'll be back with the 1,500 on the men's side here at the 10 on FloTrack.
With that.
1500 on the men's side here at the 10 on FloTrack. And we are back with the start of the 1500 on the men's side, and a great field here lined up. We do need to mention Josiah Toston, the number 5 miler, all-time in high school, out of Crater High in this field. Christian Noble, you see right there, the D2 legend, now having a fine pro career.
Yeah, personally, I've got my eyes on the NAZ guys. I mean, Abby Nichols just set the standard there in the women's 1500 with a really well-executed race. We got a host of NAZ elite guys in this race. Olin Hacker's the first one you got to talk about. 5th at World Indoors, NCAA 5K champ. He's doing the same thing that Abby's doing. I talked to his coach, trying to get a little bit of speed in the 1500, coming back. And then coming back later is going to be Jackson Sharp doing a little bit of pacing. And you see those two together right in the middle of this field. You also have Ahmed Jaziri making his pro debut for NAZ Elite. He was 5th at the Olympics in the steeple. New to the team. Let's see how he does in the 1500 today.
So Christian Harrison pacing this field right at 57.5 through the first 400. World Championship finalist Josh Thompson. We haven't even mentioned Josh Thompson sitting there in 3rd at the moment. Tavian Kitchen, also out of Crater High School, 14:01 for 5,000. He was sub 4 indoors. So Rahu out of India. Aaron All, who's run 3:38. Simon Fraser, Division II standout before moving to University of Washington. Fawad Masaudi out of Oklahoma State, 4th in the indoor mile, and he's part of our lead group. So Hacker in position as well.
Yeah, Noble leading the way for the pack right now, making the pace lights right on him. The pace lights are set at 3:35, right? So that's going to be the mark they're keeping an eye on. Noble followed by Thompson. Staying right on the lights, getting a little bit of room to the pacer. And remember, there is a little bit of a headwind into the back stretch. So let's see how that impacts them with the lights right here.
Our pace right on 155 as Christian Harrison, the half miler, doing a great job out front.
So, and look who's moving into 3rd now, Olin Hacker. Remember, he's got a lot of strength. Now he's moving around Josh Thompson. The pace slowed a lot down that stretch. I don't know if it was the wind. I don't know if it was the gap to the rabbit. But it's Olin Hacker who has decided, hey, I'll take over. Let's go.
Yeah, the NCAA 5K champ had that great indoor 3K, and he's a guy that could emerge on the right day at 5,000. You know, he's a guy that could all of a sudden show up at USA's, and Hacker up front with Masadi.
I mean, show up. He was 5th at Worlds. What else you got to do to show up? 2:39 coming through right there. He is going to be chasing the lights with Masaudi right behind him.
So Masaudi and Hacker are now away. So 2:39 at the bell as they get to 1,200 meters, right at 2:54. And those two together with Jackson Sharp of Hoka NAZ Elite. And now moving into third, Josh Thompson trying to get into contact with Masaudi.
Yeah, Hacker starting to tighten up a little bit, but Sharp's going with him. Sharp's got Australian Outdoors just in a couple weeks. That's a really early race, so he needs to be really sharp. But I'll stop talking about him because look at Masaudi go.
Masaudi coming off of that great indoor season. Anytime you're fourth in the NCAA, that really shows something. And here is Fouad Masaudi. His coach is waving him through. He is up on those wave lights. Watch that clock. He's going to dip under 3:35 or right at 35. So many people contending there, but Masaudi 3:35.55. Incredible NCAA mark.
Jackson Sharp finishes in 3:36. Thompson right behind him at 3:37. But yeah, Masaudi, the late add into this field representing Oklahoma State, saying you don't need to be a professional. I'm a collegiate. This is how it's done.
Yeah, his close was incredible on that race. Like, you know, he kind of had some people coming into position. You see Sharp in second, Thompson third, Hacker there, part of 4 under 340. But Masaudi, man, that was the way he moved and just kind of took off from that field. One of the fastest times here early in this incredibly fast outdoor NCAA season.
Yeah, and what's crazy about that is the guys that are sitting behind him, guys that have competed at Worlds. Artur's Medved's there in 11th. He has a Latvian national record to his name. I mean, this is a serious field. Last year, you could critique that the 10,000s were the big races and you didn't quite have the depth on the 1,500. But, I mean, we see the international class that's already showing up here, and we're barely getting started tonight.
So number 4 time in the NCAA on the season. And we're going to go down to Ryan. He's with our winner.
All right, Fouad Masaudi, winner tonight, 3:35 from Oklahoma State, coming across the country. How are you feeling?
Feel pretty good, actually, yeah. I had a loss in me, last kind of 200. I was gonna push into get under 3:35 and didn't get it today, but I got the win. So happy with that. How the outdoor season going? So I'm ready to kind of get that fitness throughout the year.
Transitioning from cross country to indoor and now to outdoor. Why this race? Why coming out to California? What does it set you up for?
Well, that one was not on the plan, so I got a call on Monday from the coach. He said, like, hey, you want to do 1,500? But, like, not sure if you're going to do it. But, like, I was like, yeah, sure. And we haven't done anything since, I mean, we had national indoor. So just kind of getting that fitness through the indoor to the outdoor. Coming here when it was a good boost of kind of confidence for me.
Yeah, so Monday you find out. When do you actually make the decision to come?
That day.
On Monday, okay. All right, well, a quick turnaround, a win. Where will we see you next?
Probably, I don't know, 1,500 or 5K in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Yeah, haven't talked to my coach yet.
And all leading to Big 12s, outdoor NCAAs, and we'll see you there. All right, cool. Great job. Nice work.
Thank you so much.
And an outstanding 1,500 as we'll move back to the high school competition. About 5 minutes away from the boys 3,200. And again, another strong field coming here. So those 1,500s, a lot of outdoor openers here on the pro side. And so 3,200s will have the boys and the girls. And we'll be back with those events in just a few moments here at the 10. Welcome back to the 10. And the 10 kicks off an outstanding season, an outstanding slate of racing outdoors here on FloTrack. You see our fans eagerly anticipating the 3200 on the boys' side, and we are moments away from that race. The Diamond League on Flo this season, starting in April in Xiamen, China, and will go all the way through August, leading into the World Championships. But FloTrack hosting the Diamond League, and we'll be having content all around these incredible events that conclude in the Diamond League final at Zurich. So the 3,200 meter competitors being called to the line. This field and our fans there on the high school side from Redondo High looking to cheer on their teammate, Christopher Jarmilo. He'll be featured in this next race along with Alexander Barabee. Barabee's run 9:20, our competitors. This field led by Landon Petrie of Menlo School. Menlo School in the Central Coast section near Palo Alto. He was 7th in the state of California in this event, ran 8:48.11 at Arcadia. He's hip number 15 there in that yellow jersey, taking off on a stride. So Petrie ran 4:10.79. He's the number 6 1,600 meter on the season, and heads into this 3,200 meter runner as somebody to talk about as a potential state champion in California at this 3,200 meter distance.
Yeah, I'll be keeping my eye on Zion Ortiz from Burroughs. He's run pretty well, 4th in the invite at 3,200 at Meet of Champs. Has already won 9 races this year. That's a lot of races to win this early in the season. I thought we just started. I thought this was race number 1.
High schoolers cannot wait to get out the door. I guess none of them can really wait to get out the door, but yeah, no, he's looking to keep that undefeated streak. So he's run 9:06. So 20 gentlemen here lining up.
And there's always that one that just takes a little longer to get to the line. Nothing like getting some free headspace in your opponents.
We'll also keep an eye on Chase Manning from Tesoro and Rogan Arriaga of El Toro. They both have been under 9:20 this season, as has Isaac Fansad from Miracosta, who's run 9:07.32.
We seem to have forgotten how our numbers work in terms of how we are lining up, but that's just fine. Let's talk a little bit more about numbers with the Wave Light. This race is going to be set at 8:40, Kevin. That's 66s. They're going to do that all the way around, and then a 60 at the end. So they're expecting a big last lap. But, I mean, 66s, maybe they can hang on to that a little bit longer than that 60 at the end. But what do you think? A little aggressive here?
Yeah, I almost think we need to let them kind of get warm with like a 69 opening lap and then accelerate the lights.
So that's something they're doing with the Wave Lights this year that I haven't seen as much before. We're seeing a lot of variability in paces, right? We saw it with the 800s with the first laps just a little bit faster, which is, you know, pretty normal for how an 800 runs. But I like that a lot, giving these guys an opportunity to set a steady pace. And wait till you hear the numbers in the girls' race. I mean, it's like every lap is a little bit different for how they're going to be setting the lights, but really kind of adapting the lights to the race conditions. So it's cool how the Wave Lights have adapted to the runners while the runners are adapting to the Wave Lights at the same time.
So this is Landon Petrie up front. His brother, Justin Petrie, also out of Menlo, running for the University of California. Had a great start to his collegiate career. And Petrie will go to Wake Forest in the fall.
John Hayes, good coach over there. Brandon Hazuri, the assistant. Used to race against him in college. I say race against him. I really just saw the back of his head get farther and farther away from me.
You shared a start line. So Lesher from Wainimi out in 66, and he's run 9:06 himself. So this is a big race for these guys. We're 2 weeks from Arcadia.
J.R. Lesher sitting in second there. He was 4th of the invite mile at Meet of Champs, won the Don Greed invite in the 32. He's run 9:06 and 4:11. Still early, but he's undefeated in the 3,200 this year. I'm sure he wants to keep that streak going today.
You know, there may be a sense of calmness with the Wave Lights and a reassurance for Petrie up front. He and Richie right together. It may give them a chance to kind of settle in at this pace.
Yeah, and we talked about that 840 pace. They certainly don't seem to be shying away from it up front. And farther back, when we zoom out here, you'll see the white lights are rolling at 9 flat. And most of our guys seem to be in front of that right now. We'll also have red lights farther back at 912. Crazy when the slow end of the pace setting is 912. We've got a pretty competitive field here today.
And this is an aggressive pace that seems doable. They're at 212, right on that 66 pace that you mentioned. So Hayden, 2 guys out, which should serve both of them well.
Should help a lot, you're right. And you know what else I like is the wind is starting to die down a little bit. It's getting cold. You and I both put on our jackets in between those last races. We're going to have some very, very spunky 10,000 races coming later tonight. The weather's getting perfect for it. The boys are enjoying it right now for the 3,200, obviously longest distance generally run in the high school ranks, and we'll move up to the pro ranks for the 10,000 in a little while. Weather's perfect. It's going to be a great day.
So Petrie continues to hold that pace. And he went right to the front from the gun. And Petrie on those pace lights. And just a huge group on those 9 flat pace lights. That's Nicholas Ponte running in 3rd. So 318. So right at the front of those green lights.
Petrie and Lesher still right on 840 pace. The blue lights are more for the pace setter, which we don't really quite have in the high school races, but these guys still trying to hang on to those green lights at 840, trying to run sub 9 here today.
So they have to make a decision early in the race. We're in lap 4 right now because the green's starting to get away just a little bit. Do you stay with it or do you allow yourself to breathe? Because if you lose it, right?
Yeah, I think if you're Lesher right now, you have one option. It's to run with the guy in front of you, especially with still a little bit of a wind. It is dying down, but there is a little bit of a wind down the backstretch. I love being able to tuck in behind somebody, not only be able to draft a little bit, but also get that psychological relaxation of just whirring at the guy in front of you. Petrie, I mean that's a tougher call, right? You're grinding, you're starting to lose the lights a little bit. You want to commit to the pace because you've got about 10 to 15 guys farther back that could certainly catch you if you let off the pace. But you also know Lesher's sitting right behind you catching the draft.
426 at 1,600 meters, and that large group coming through. We're at 435 right now. So that group at 438. So that's kind of a 915 to 920 pack.
Yeah, that group's really slowed down a good bit. We've got the white lights at 9 flat, only one athlete there, one athlete with the red lights. Everybody else is off 912 pace.
And which makes sense with the caliber of our field. It's a good field, but kind of spaced out across the front.
You know what I'm wondering, Kevin, and something we see that is just a tale as old as time. When are high school boys going to learn from the pro ranks and go out a little bit more conservative, right? I mean, I coach a small high school in Texas, and we told our guy who had the fastest mark in the race to go out and dead last. He's like, why? I'm the fastest one in here. I was like, just trust me. Dead last, runs a 75 first lap in dead last, ends up winning the race right around 10 flat. Like, what? Come on, guys, learn something.
It's part of the development of young people.
It's always the boys, too. I can say that being one of them at that point in time, right? It was always, oh, I'll get out fast, I'll feel fantastic. But, oh, man, this is part of the race where it starts to hurt.
534 at 2K. And 2 together as Petrie starting to get some separation. And, a guy like Petrie up front, he's got Arcadia on his mind. He's got California State Meet. He's got Nike Outdoor Nationals. He's one of the best runners in the country. And he's not going to, this is not a day where he's going to run his best, but this is a chance to set up his season.
So 3rd place right now, hanging right off the back of the red lights, which are set at 9:12. That's Nicholas Ponte from Albuquerque Academy, runner-up at the New Mexico 4A cross-country champs. Dropped his 32 PB by 25 seconds already this season, so 9:15. So those lights, that's a 3-second PR for him. Let's see how close to them he can get today coming down from altitude.
Yeah, you get a trip to California, one of the premier meets this spring. Take advantage of it, right? Go beat up on some California guys.
I mean, this is fantastic weather coming from Texas, I always say that running in California is a cheat code. I don't know if these high school kids from California realize it. They're lucky growing up here. But anybody coming from out of town, you feel this weather, it just feels fast. You just feel lighter than air.
So Petrie at 6:43 with 2 to go, and he has had separation. He is led from the gun here. And Petrie, 69 on that last lap. You can see the pace dropping off across the board here.
Yeah, Petrie's probably on about 8:50 right now. He's about halfway between those green lights set at 8:40 and those white lights set at 9 flat. As you said, partner, losing a little bit of space as you see the white lights there, starting to catch up to Lesher, but not a lot of racing left.
So Petrie coming up on 500 meters to go. In control here. And that aggressive pace has taken its toll on this field. Petrie to some extent, but he's got to practice going out. Well, you said pacing, but for a guy like this, he's got to experience that as he hits the bell at 7:52.
I mean, that'll come with time, right? The more miles he runs, the longer he gets in his career, the more he's going to be able to sustain that pace. But comes through in 68 right there, put 3 seconds on Lesher in that lap. This is a big lap. I always say that second to last lap is huge, 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 trying to get rid of folks. So he's coming in with 300 meters to go here, and he did that work on the penultimate lap, trying to keep Lesher as far away as he can and trying to stay under 9. Those white lights are starting to creep.
So 17 have been under 9 early in 2025 in this outdoor season, and Petrie really opening up a lead here as Lesher holds that second spot from Wainimi.
Yeah, Lesher did a good job in the early laps. He's on your screen right now to cement that second place, but it's going to be all Petrie in the home stretch.
So Landon Petrie in the home straightaway. The fastest time in the state of California in 2025 is 8:56. This is Landon Petrie from Menlo School on the win in the 3200. So Petrie 8:58.32 moves him into the top 15 in the state of California on the season. Lesher very respectable in second, right on 9:09. Make it 9:10.18.
I don't know if that's coach or dad losing his mind there, walking towards the finish line. Looks excited. It's great weather out here. We're getting some fast times. Really excited for what's coming later tonight.
You got to think for these guys, hey, get in a big race early in the season, get that experience under your belt as a high school competitor. And yeah, was this the fastest they're going to run in the season? Probably not, but it's a good chunk of experience against a great field.
Yeah, what a cool opportunity to get into such a well-managed race like the 10. I mean, you come out here, you run in front of a full stadium, go for your full cool down, come back and watch some national records. I mean, what a great opportunity as a high school athlete.
I just was thinking of a year ago, we watched Grant Fisher just get swarmed by high school kids for autographs afterwards, and that contact with the athletes is an incredible opportunity. Landon Petrie, 8:58.52 on the win.
Yeah, Petrie takes it sub 9, 8:58. Good run for him. Really, Lesher stuck with him for a while, but those last couple laps just couldn't hold it together. But I really like what he did, trying to be aggressive with Petrie, trying to stay up there, let Petrie block the win, come through in 9:10, and a host of guys running under 9:20. Good day.
And we're going to go down to Ryan Fenton on the track.
I'm down on the track with Joshua Potts, our very own Mile Split West Region editor, newest member to our team. And Joshua, welcome to the 10. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I always love this event here at the 10. It's going to get really cold in the next couple hours, but like the race on the track is going to make it hot. I'm ready for these races, these 10Ks, and the high school events too. It's going to be hype.
It's perfect conditions to rip a 10K. Mile Split West editor on the high school side, dual duties tonight on the flow side. At the beginning of the show, we were talking about this being the kickoff to the professional outdoor season. But on the high school scene, it's not quite the kickoff. We've already been here. Where are we at in the high school scene?
Oh, it's big race season. It's big race season. We got Arcadia coming up in April. We got Mount Sag relays coming up here on the west side. There's some races up in Oregon as well. But it's big race season as we gear up for the postseason. And like, we're gonna see example of that in this girls 3,200 meter. Riley Blade is gonna race this. We may see a national record. I'm just putting that out there, but for sure, under 10 in the 32 is a real possibility. She missing prom at Arcadia, so she's gonna show out real big here in this race. And there's a lot of girls, Abigail Arrington and Megan Crum, and later today in the girls 16 with Jordan Lieberman, it's gonna be a big race. They're gearing up for these bigger races in April. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, and Blade, number 2 all-time indoors in that 5K, coming off an amazing campaign there. So also a couple high schoolers in the men's 1500 earlier tonight. A lot going on. What else are you looking forward to the rest of the evening?
Well, you said Josiah and Tavon, they ran an amazing race. U.S. number 10 all time for both in the 15. The boys mile is going to be super interesting there. I think Liam Miller is going to be in that race. And honestly, just some really competitive racing from all these guys. We're really gearing up here in California specifically for Arcadia and then CIF coming up very soon. So they want these big marks to have that confidence and that momentum going forward.
I got to ask you, always a debate, Cali or Texas?
Come on, man. Come on, man. Did you see Brandon Arrington? Brandon Arrington ran 20.37 in the 200 today. I know you guys got the 9.9, but I'm just saying, like, California, San Diego, what we doing, McKenna Herbst, like, come on, man, Cali.
All right, you hear it down in Cali. Well, we're going to send it to the track. Possible national record. You heard it here first from Joshua. Let's go see.
And we will take a quick break before we return for the 3,200 meters here on Flo at the 10.
Celebrating 30 meters out.
5,000 meters on the track, ready to roll. Collegiate national lead.
In the close there on her inside, but it looks like Shaki could take this front to back. 200-meter final.
Brad Fisher, the American record holder. This is super Cuban.
But Holloway crossed the London. He's only 3 100ths outside the world record.
You're seeing the girls in the 3,200 meters. This field is led by Riley Blade from Santiago High in Corona. One of the top athletes in the country will go to Florida State next year. 10:02 flat lifetime best. She was the state champ for 3,200 meters as a sophomore. She was first at Woodbridge. She was a state champion for her division. Third last year at 3,200 meters. Her teammate, Braylon Combe, I'm fairly certain we saw in the 1,600 earlier, maybe doing some pacing. So Hayden, we've got a nice field lined up here. Summer Wilson, she was the 1,600 winner here at the 10 last year out of Irvine High, also here in this field. 10:15 lifetime best.
Yeah, really great race lining up. We've got the pace lights, I believe. That can't be right. It says it's set 9 flat. That cannot be right for the pace lights. We'll get a correct number on that.
We may need to add a minute to that. So Summer Wilson, interestingly, was third at Nike Outdoor Nationals in the 2K steeple. We also want to keep an eye on Megan Crum from Temescal Canyon. She's run 10:27, will go to University of Portland next year. 72.5 on the opener.
Yeah, and I've got that corrected information. 9:39 is going to be that first set of pace lights. 10:13 for the second. And keep in mind, they're not going to be set evenly. So that first set of pace lights is going to start with 74s, then some 73s, then a 72, 71, 69 as it cuts down. Second set's going to stay pretty much even at 77s with a slightly faster last lap.
So those pace lights are going to scoop up these athletes and carry them along. You see 3 out front. So Riley Blade there at the front. Braylon Combe, her teammate. And on the inside is Abigail Arrington of South Pasadena, who's run 10:17. So that's her in orange running in third.
Yeah, we should talk about the national record in the 3200 because there's a chance it's on watch today. Elizabeth Leachman's run 9:43. She did that in February of 2024 to break the previous record set by Caitlin Toohey. Think that goes down from Riley Blade tonight?
There's a really strong chance. I mean, Riley Blade is a premier blue chip, 5-star, however you want to call it. So 227 through 800 meters. And Riley Blade is looking to put on a show this evening. So 75 on lap number 2 for Riley Blade. This season, just a dual meet under her belt, 5 flat. So she is, and that was 2 weeks ago. So Riley Blade ran 15:16 indoors in that memorable Nike Indoor National.
Yeah, she seems a little bit hesitant to go with the pace right now, so I'm not sure if she's just staying patient. We see that from Jakob Ingebrigtsen all the time, kind of letting the pacer go a little bit, doing his own thing, but letting her teammate get a little bit of space. But you have Arrington not far behind either.
But you think if she's run 15:16, you know, Hedengren got all that attention for 15:13. She was right there in that race. I mean, you got to think that 9:35 is in the cards here, right?
Well, that 5K marks, if you go off the World Athletics tables, converts to a 9:32. Who knows if those World Athletics tables are really accurate? I know there's always some debate there, but she's certainly in the ballpark, so we'll see what happens.
3:43 at 1200. So right with the 74.4. So just off the pace as Combe steps off the track. Her teammate paced through those first 3 laps. Arrington 2.5 seconds back or so, running in second. So we are fully strung out here as our field is a solid 100 meters behind. A good field, but we are fully strung out with Riley Blade, one of the fastest runners in high school history if you go off that 15:16 up front.
Yeah, Abigail Arrington, though, staying in the race, staying in sight, about 30 meters behind, ahead of the white lights. Arrington's the D3 state cross-country champ and individual qualifier for NXN. She's got PBs of 4:49 and 10:17. I like the aggressiveness here. As you see, this is one of my favorite things about high school track and field. You're going to see Riley Blade come through right here, and you're going to see her teammate who was previously jumping up and down, cheering for her. Couldn't be more excited. I love it.
It's awesome. It's awesome. And, you know, you've been in the sport, you ran collegiately, and you'll talk, or at 4:58, you'll talk to an athlete like Riley Blade in 5 years, and she'll remember that high school kid that cheered for her. Like their memories that are created at events like this, you know, they last, even when they go on to pro careers.
Now, we were talking about that before the show a little bit while we were sitting around while some of the high school races were happening earlier in the day. I mean, don't get me wrong, the professional races, the college races, very, very cool. But there's something about that excitement of cheering for your teammate, right? Just standing on the track, knowing somebody that you run with every single day. And you don't see that anywhere in the college and professional ranks quite like you do at the high school level, where people are just so excited to be out there.
So Arrington does need to contend, or at least go with it here. She was 6th in the state of California last year. Like, this is a chance for an athlete like this to get in there and prepare to, you know, to be a medalist, and, you know, again this spring in the 3200.
I don't know about that. I kind of like what she's doing, managing the gap. She's going to have these white lights to work with for a minute. I mean, you're talking about trying to run the top time in girls' high school history. I like being a little conservative, right? Like,
sure,
going with that if you're not ready for it. I mean, that can really blow you up and really get a frustrating day. I like building the confidence. I like keeping it in sight, knowing, hey, that's somewhere that I can be. Maybe by the end of the season, maybe next year, but I'm going to run my race.
And she's got those white lights in her hip pocket. So 6:15 and 6:24 for our top two at 2,000 meters.
Yeah, and as the PA announcer says it, not sure if y'all can hear that through, but I mean, two athletes far, far ahead of everybody else. We've got about 100 meters separating Riley Blade, Arrington, and the rest of this field as they come through with 3 laps to go at 6:45. Blade staying around 76s. I don't think we're going to see that national record today, but still could see some great racing as she tries to go sub 10.
And you see our field here where our top 10 or so were heading into lap number 7 through 6 laps under 7 minutes. So we've got a strong field here. We just have an incredible performance up front.
Yeah, top time in the United States this year is 10:05. That's still very much in the running. That was run by Hannah Thompson of Montgomery. 10:15 is that second mark. So we could still definitely see a top mark in the U.S., if not a top 5 mark by Riley Blade here.
And Hannah Thompson, the Stanford commit, currently leading California. And Kiara Daly of La Jolla may have also put up a fast time. Looks like she did it in a dual meet recently. So these are names you're going to hear at the California level, at the national level throughout the spring. This is Blade at the 8-minute mark. So Riley Blade now.
Probably just off 10 flat. I think she's running maybe 10:03, 10:05. You never know what she's going to have in the last 800 meters. And there's Arrington. She's been in second this whole race. As I kind of said from the gun, running her own race. Use Riley Blade as a marker there in the early stages. Sometimes you see an athlete like Arrington, as you mentioned, overcommit. Go with Riley Blade, go for that national record type pace and really just blow up, drop out, have a really bad day. But Arrington's done a really good job of managing the gap. She's lost a meter or two every lap, but she's still on a great day today.
8:46 at the bell for Abigail Arrington, another 75, and she's got that consistent pacing. Yes, she would have loved to have seen a faster pace, but Arrington with a sizable lead, or Blade with a sizable lead. Arrington at 9:04 at the bell, and down the backstretch is Blade.
Yeah, Blade's still right around that 10 flat. 10:05, remember, is that mark for top time in the United States this year. That's what Riley Blade is chasing as she charges down the backstretch.
So
we switched that 9:58. That was run 2 days ago. My list apparently is 2 days old.
It's hard to keep up.
That's what it is with high school. Every day somebody gets a little bit faster. Looks like we might be updating it today.
You never know what's going to happen at a dual meet as Riley Blade is in the home stretch, and Riley Blade just crushing this one. She'll be headed to BYU. Amazing indoors. Gets her outdoor season started here at the 10. 3,200 meters. Riley Blade right on that 10-minute mark.
Number 2 time in the U.S. for Riley Blade. Not a bad start to your outdoor season, especially when you ran most of it by yourself. Little help to the teammate. Got to give a little credit to the teammate there. That's a huge help as always. But most of it running solo.
10 flat 56 as Arrington closes out in second. Keep in mind, only 4 had run under 10:40 or 10:20 nationally coming into today. So Arrington puts up a top 10 mark in the country. 10:26.71.
That'll be good for number 8 in the country. So we see number 2, we should say number 9, because Riley Blade jumps up. So number 2 and number 9 in the country here at the 10.
And Guilfoyle of Trabuco Hills comes to the line. These athletes all under 11 minutes. As you see our running clock, we're at the 11-minute mark now in this girls 3,200. 10 flats, no joke, it doesn't matter who it is. Like, that's an outstanding mark. You see Blade there with her teammate. Give it up for Braylon Combe, coming back, doing some pacing.
Dude, you see a few enough high school boys breaking 10 flat. Seeing girls do it, really, really impressive. It just shows how much American distance running has improved over the last couple years, whether it's the shoes, whether it's the wave lights, whether it's, you know, the technology, the information just getting shared, being able to watch so many professionals do their workouts, learn from them. Just an incredible race there from Riley Blade. There's your results. Riley Blade with that number 2 time in the country. Abigail Arrington, 10:26, is still good for number 9 in the U.S. so far. Still early season, of course, and then you see a handful of women running sub-11.
So Riley Blade, she'll be a Seminole in the fall. I said BYU, I confused major programs, so she's going to Florida State. And we are so fortunate to have the energy brought by Hoka and the Fan Zone. Hoka is the presenting sponsor for the 10 and continues to show amazing commitment to the sport from high school all the way through their pro teams and athletes. Both today and tonight's sessions are brought to you by Hoka. And those bucket hats, man, I gotta get myself a bucket hat. Those things are fantastic.
Well, I've seen him handed out to some race winners. Something tells me, Kevin, you're not winning any of these races
This
tonight.
is true. This is true. I got a headset on my head, not a bucket hat. So thanks to Hoka for really activating this event. And Hayden, we have got to get fired up because the juice is coming. 10,000 meters. Excuse me. We are getting ready for the women's spike 10,000. That will be our first of 4 at this distance in the 10,000. This is such an important event for these women. We know they might only get at the most 3 10,000s in a year. For the most part, it's going to be 2. You know, they'll get this in the nationals, right? Whether it be collegiate or USA's or whatever national championship. But man, when you get 2 cracks a year, that's not much.
What's going on with the bunny ears over here? You seeing this?
The bunny ears.
That might be a new style. Are we going to see we saw the speed suit.
It's the rabbit.
Is it the rabbit?
It's
That'd
gotta be
be
the
so
rabbit,
great.
right?
Do we have a rabbit with bunny ears? That's something I have never seen before, but I hope that's what we're about to see today.
Now, I'll have to admit, Hayden, I have seen it in middle school cross country. No joke. But we've got it at the 10 tonight.
Oh, you know who it is? That's Colleen Quigley. Didn't recognize her from the back of her head, but yeah, that's a Quigley thing to do. Put the bunny ears on the head. I like it. That should be something we do